Welcome everyone to an episode of the Definitive Crusade. I'm your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and with the Finns on a bye week, what better time to talk about comics? Joining me, as always, is the lovely Freyja.
Hey guys, what's up? Hey Johnny.
Is that Santa behind you in your background? Is that what you're going for? Red skies?
Santa?
Are you all Christmas already?
No, this is my room.
Okay, cool.
I have Batman behind me and my little anime figures and my food.
All right, okay, cool. Joining us also is the Knight.
It is I, the bearded boy wonder. Hello.
And of course, no Crusade would not be would be the same without the Crusader. It's the 13th Crusader. How's it going, man?
Hola, buenos días.
Buenos días, señor.
¿Cómo está?
Muy bien. ¿Y
Muy
usted?
bien. Mal.
Bueno.
Mal.
We'll find out, I guess.
I do have to say, Johnny was like, "Is that Santa behind you?" And I was like, "That's Inuyasha." Oh no!
I was like, Inuyasha, man.
I'm just like looking at the red sky in the background. I'm like, is that
I didn't know
Santa?
what he was talking about. Like, I was like, Santa.
Okay. All right, easy. No Santa talk before Thanksgiving. Thank you very much.
Nope.
All right. Last time around, I broke Matthew's heart a little bit by saying there was a rumor going around that Red Hood was not for the living for much longer. Well, Matthew, I'm afraid the news is out. Next year, he's getting a new series.
Let's go!
Hey, good job, Red Hood.
Yes.
Red
Even
Hood.
though apparently with one of the books we see today, that's not the case. But like,
Wow. Red Hood the Hill
Yep.
makes a return next year. There you go. Also returning is the world's most hated, possibly, Batman. George Clooney, Batman, the Batman and Robin is getting a McFarlane figure set. Anyone seen these online? They look absolutely, well, apart from the Poison Ivy one, they look spot on. You know, if anything can make that film look even better, it's McFarlane toys.
Let me see.
yeah.
Check out the Robin one. It looks spot on. The Batman has the Clooney jaw, and the Batgirl's pretty cool as well. So there you go. Check them out.
I see the Santa one.
Don't be looking at my grey hair and my beard and call me Santa. That's unfair. That's nasty.
Let me see. Where is it?
I mean, if you want to get Santa on the show, I could just call my dad up. He does it professionally, man.
Oh.
You mean okay? For all the kids watching, what it means professionally means he's Santa's helper professionally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm professionally Santa's helper, and Santa is my dad.
Yeah. All rumors that say that Matthew is a prancer is a totally different thing altogether.
I don't
All
know.
right.
I'm a prancer and a dancer.
Oh, okay. Well then.
Oh my God. All right. Before we go down that slippery slope,
I just play into it.
Yeah. All right. What was I going to say? So before we go down the slippery slope, let's get into some books. It was a quiet week this time around. There's only 8 books came out from DC. We've only picked one from this run, and that's the 13th book. So we'll be ticking that off last, purely because we'll do the older books first. So start off with a tie-in. It was Freyja's pick. God knows why on earth.
Because we had 7 books, Johnny. What else was I supposed to do?
Batman 139.
Did you see the other choices that we had?
Yeah. All right, so this is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, special number 1. The main story is written by Tim Seeley. Miguel Mendoza is on art. Andrew Dalhouse is on colors. Wes Abbott is on letters. There are a number of different stories in this, each one allegedly hinting at what is to come in the movie. Now, before I hand off to Frey, which is my usual thing, I will quickly say this about this book. For me, what a complete waste of time. It's about a film I'm not going to see, about characters I don't care about, and the art is terrible. Freyja, why don't you take it away from there?
Yeah, so pretty much, yeah. To tie into a movie I'm not going to see, even though I love Jason Momoa. I'm not going to see it. I mean, bunch of characters. I don't even think they gave the main villain a name. Like, I don't even.
Scylla and whatever. It's like it's the phrase Scylla and whatever the other.
For me, it's standing guy and who gives a.
Yeah, you know his wife's name, but like he doesn't have a name. And then like I don't understand how Aquaman at the end defeats him. Like he's like, "Oh, you're absorbing my power. Here, absorb something else." And then he's like, "I killed my own wife," and then swims away. I'm like, "What a bitch." Okay.
Charybdis is what his quote unquote name was. Yeah, Scylla and Charybdis was the names that they gave each other.
Oh, okay. Well, the ending was anticlimactic and stupid as hell. So I'm like, okay, well that was dumb bullshit. And then they get married. Yay, okay. And then it goes to another story, I guess about Black Manta, I'm assuming.
Yeah, because
it's just him collecting shit. So yeah, the art was a little bit better in that one, but I was also very like, all right.
It was the meme. It was directly the meme. That's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them.
And it's like, I was thinking more of the I am the captain now meme because he takes over the ship after killing the captain. I was like, all right, I'm a captain now, bitch. But like, it was just kind of, and then the last story, I was just kind of so checked out at that point. Aquaman, I was like, who? I checked out, so I don't even know what the hell was going on in the last story. So, like,
I
was so exhausted of like, I don't even give a shit anymore. What is this? I did notice that Aquaman's beard changed length though.
Yeah.
And it was really weird.
Color.
And color. He turned into the Shaggy Man.
And his hairstyle went from flowing to pony to man bun. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
that's what married life does to you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was this whole book. I was like, this is why buying comics is so hard. Like,
you know what? That's a shout. That is a shout.
Like, I go like, there's all these books that come out, and then I'm like, oh, okay, and I look through them, and I'm like, you want how much for this?
True that. Let me jump to 13. Your recent returnee to the Crusade. All right. Mm-hmm. After spending lots of time over in Alzheimer's.
On the water, yes.
When you see a book like this, what do you think of the modern comic book storytelling, the idea of a tie-in book?
It's tough. It's tough. And to much of your points earlier, you know, and I've said this before, when you're trying to adapt film into a book, it's I don't know, just something is missing. And then you have a character like Aquaman, and then you got to see what the interest level is, right? I could sum up Aquaman's history in probably less than 13 seconds. A parent from Atlantis, another one from Earth. He had a wife, Mera. He had a baby that got killed, and he lost his hand.
Cool.
And that's it. Yeah. So in here, in reading this, I agree with you. It's trying to portray a story. Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking of the Jason Momoa comparison here, but then also I couldn't get rid of Amber Turd out of my mind.
that was going to be my point. Is that throughout seeing all of this, I was mentally checked out because all I could see as Mera was Amber, and we saw how atrocious that actor was in that role and how atrocious of a person she is. This is personal opinion.
Yeah.
This is my saying. This doesn't reflect anybody else on this channel or any part of.
No,
I don't like her.
I agree. She's why I won't see the movie. I saw the first one, but I refuse to see anything that she's in.
I'm just glad Willy Wonka's not in here because the chocolate factory certainly is in this one. The art, you know, whatever it is, what it is. I think there's just too many sequences with unfinished inks. I don't know. That's how I feel. And the faces are too distorted. I think the best looking character in the story was Aquaman's mother. That's my opinion.
Yeah, she is.
Easy, Tiger.
but again, it's like what boggles me is that when it comes to something undersea, there's so much area of the planet with ocean that is unexplored, and yet we still can't get something quite new for Aquaman. At least here they're making an attempt, but I don't see it sticking. I have zero interest in this. I think the Black Manta story was probably the most interesting of the book, and that's saying something. This is the Black Manta story is basically a pirate story without the eye patch and the wooden peg. That's basically what it is. You know what I mean? So, okay, I get it. It's the legacy of Black Manta, and watch out for him because he's got a lot of hate that's been passed down from generation to generation against Aquaman and the rest of the Atlanteans.
Okay.
The last story with Ocean Master, what was the point? I guess I feel like they're just doing it for an appearance. You know, we don't want to forget about Ocean Master. He's a big bad, you know, for Aquaman, but he's stuck in idle. So I don't know. For a special, there's really nothing special in this book, and that's really the saddest part of this whole thing.
Fair point. Fair point. Matthew, anything to add?
My biggest point was the fact that I couldn't get into it simply because of the Amber Heard debacle. Shenanigans.
I'll add a couple of things before we move on. The characters might look who they're supposed to look like, at least some of the time, but there's no way Wonder Woman would say something along the lines of, I'm every bit a warrior you are, you know. Come on. Who's this aimed at, really? Because it's absolute, you know, she wouldn't say that. Also, this character's face here, that mouth is not in line with that nose. I just wanted to point that out.
She has fish mouth.
Oh, whatever. The other thing that, where is it? Where did I see it? Where is it after this bit? Yeah, right. Okay. So he's this bit. They're having their consultation, and you can clearly see that they're in the sea. You can clearly see she's still conversing with Aquaman. And then on the next page, we've moved scene, we've moved time, and the same conversation's going on. Now, I'm all for, you know, adults doing adult things, but I swear to God, if a period of time has gone past where I've had some family time, I'm not bringing up the continuation of a conversation I had.
That's just how the tide turns, machine.
I mean, not if it's well done anyway.
Exactly. You know, I spent more than 13 seconds on the thing anyway.
It's just a new wave. That's just how it is.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
It's a splash.
Yeah. Just don't talk anything about fish fingers.
What are you talking about?
So at which point, I just don't understand, and I've said this before in some books, it's like we're going to continue the plot device across, we're going to change the scenery, and we're not going to explain how we got from there to there. If this conversation should have been happened before they got to this point, not as things have the pacing is just all wrong. Unlike Freyja, I didn't get to the last story. I checked out here, and that's where I checked out. So I absolutely would not recommend anyone picking this book up. I guarantee you do not need to read this book in order to enjoy the movie if you're going to see it. All right? I don't. You know, it's because I guarantee none of the plot threads in this will be carried over into the movie.
That panel that you just had up, Johnny, sums it up right there. That when the villains lost to Aquaman, they were making kind of light of it, saying that you lost to the guy who talks to fish.
Exactly.
And then there's that running joke as well about Aquaman.
Yeah. If you can't get serious about the character that's in your own book, then for Christ's sakes, what are you even doing? You know,
I'm still going to stick to my guns and say that the Aquaman Rebirth was probably one of the better Aquaman lines in the beginning, and then it kind of fizzled off. But
yeah,
there's so much potential. For years, we can say that. For years, Aquaman has had the potential. It's just no one has really found that magic touch yet.
They need to make it more like Game of Thrones.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Freya and I agree on this. Every time we talk about Aquaman, Freya and I look at each other and we're like, Game of Thrones, make it a Black Label book and go for it.
Yes.
Agreed.
Just without the incest, please. Leave that
without the incest. But Game of Thrones is up because Mera was originally an assassin, right? Sent to kill Aquaman.
So
there's different kingdoms in the sea. Like the ocean is massive.
Let's have some
fun, man.
It would be a fluid story.
It would be awesome.
All right, can we stop with the water jokes, eh?
What are you talking about, Johnny? I think they're great.
I'm going to tap out, I tell you. All right.
Sounds like you're drowning.
Oh.
And with that,
And on that note, next up was my choice. I can't believe my book's normally at the end, but here we go. I was looking forward to this book for quite a while. It's Supergirl Special Number 1. It's written by Mariko Tamaki, who you may remember wrote the Supergirl Being Super book a few years back before doing some stuff on Detective. Skylar Patridge is on art. Marissa Louise is on colors, and Becca Carey is on letters. I overshot on Freyja's book, so Freyja, I will reciprocate, and you can go first on this one. There you go.
Okay. This book, man. There's too many supers in this book. It's a little confusing at moments, and I don't know if I'm just exhausted from this, but I'm sick of my heroes going through this like woe is me thing. I'm kind of, can I just get back to superheroes saving people again? Do I really have to have like be their therapist session in these books? Because I really don't want to read that. I have my own shit to deal with. I don't want to read about my superheroes, oh, I was, never good enough back in the day. And like, the whole thing, like, first of all, guys, her planet got blown up. Why do you keep asking about her planet? Like, wouldn't that be a little traumatizing and depressing? Like, stop asking. Seriously, what is wrong with you people? Hey, what was Krypton like? Oh, it was beautiful. Really? Tell me more. I'm like, it blew up.
I've got trees of green, of blue, planet blue robe.
Like, I'm like, how? I mean, I was like, you don't ask. If they want to share, they'll share. You don't make people remember things that, like, will make them depressed, which obviously she is depressed in this. And she's like, I'm always one step behind. I'm like, I'm done with the therapy sessions. I don't care if you have daddy issues. I don't give a shit. Can we go back to superheroes being super? Like, I know originally I was like, yeah, I want to see them do more human things. I didn't mean this shit. I meant like going on dates. I don't mean, oh, woe is me. I like, now if the story has something happen that causes them to be upset, then fine. But this was a whole story of her like reminiscing about how she wasn't good enough and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
Hey, Freyja, I heard your planet, the one that blew up, was a blast.
Thanks, yeah. 13.
Can you tell me more about it?
That was a bomb of a joke.
Oh, but like, I would not recommend this book. The artwork was, I didn't. Well, I mean, as I looked at who was on this book, I'm like, oh, no wonder I didn't like this book.
Oh yes, I remember.
I was like, I don't like anything this person has done. So I'm like, well, that's why I don't like this. The trend continues.
Indeed.
Explosive comments, Freyja.
I think I liked it better when 13 South Mike didn't work. Oh
yeah, I'm on the roll today.
You should just keep it to 13 puns. Just go with the whole bit and just keep it there.
I don't know if I can hack 13. Matthew, what was your take on this book? Before the show, you said this was probably one of the best books we looked at this week.
Yeah, I'm actually of the adverse opinion of Freyja. I like superheroes being super. I like seeing them save people. But when it's just them saving people over and over and over again, it gets redundant. And so I want something to make me relate to the characters. And so seeing a character, going through a traumatic event and struggling with the loss of her people, of her planet, it shows them having a human side. And I like those stories occasionally. Now, we've been seeing a trend where they've been doing this a lot, where every character seems to recently just be depressed or have some kind of traumatic event. And that part I can agree with Freyja about. It's overdone at this point.
True.
So
Mhm.
bring back to where they're saving people and just occasionally reel it in. Have them have those human interactions where they're dealing with everyday people. I think that would be nice. Second thing, I thought of the whole Superman trope was that he was the last of the Kryptonians.
Not no more.
And
like,
now we have like 20.
that's like saying the Doctor is the last person from Gallifrey. The whole
Yeah.
Bombshell revelation is what it is.
Yeah, watch out!
Yes.
There's loads of Time Lords knocking around.
Yeah.
So the two twins that were flying around Kara, I don't know who they are.
They are from Warworld. He's adopted those.
Gotcha. But
So-
there's too many at this point. I understand with the Bat family, I get it. I can understand, Bruce has a thing about adopting children. But it's a little different from Superman because Batman is from Earth. The Earth is populated by billions of humans. Superman is from Krypton. Krypton was populated with billions of humans. Now it blew up. So they keep bringing in more and more and more and more, and it's just kind of like then it's lessening the impact of losing his homeworld, at least to me.
It's like Goku. He was the last Saiyan until his brother showed up, until Vegeta and
And then Nappa
showed up, and then
Krillin.
Brawley showed up.
Welcome to manga today.
But there is still less Super Saiyans or Saiyans than there are Supers from Krypton.
13th. I think I'm kind of in the middle between these points, but there is an interesting aspect to this book that I don't think Freyja or Matthew picked up on. Maybe you can help us out on this one. The main crux of the book, for me, is a question that's been burning since Power Girl's first appearance way back in 1976 in All Star 58, and that's why do we need two Supergirls?
Right. Why not? Especially
Because-
one of them has a better uniform.
Exactly. Had a better uniform.
Yeah, that's what we look at, her uniform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with all of your points, and I think it's just a mixed bag of what's really happening with the Supergirl character in general.
Mhm.
I think since the 70s, no one's really known what to do with Supergirl. In fact, the only time they did know what to do was when they killed her off during Crisis. So Power Girl also, again, back in those days, Earth 2 was very relevant and very much alive. And that's where Power Girl started getting a little more popular. But she also suffered from the Supergirl syndrome, where she had multiple do-overs, Atlantean, and all this other crazy stuff that I'm not going to traumatize Johnny with going over again. Check out the Old Timer show for that.
True that.
But the bottom line is that here, when you have a brand new book and you're going to explore that trope of emotional impact and whatnot, you got to realize one thing. Like, I blame more the editors for this than anything else. The only thing I'm going to say about the art is that it's atrocious. It really is. But now, as far as the story is concerned, that trope is overdone. I kind of blame Spider-Man for this, because Spider-Man was so popular because he was meant to be written as the everyday person going through real problems. Now this is magnified to the point where it's just so watered down, overused, overextended. So with the amount of money that people are charging for comic books, and you're gonna trot this out there, I would feel ripped off. Supergirl doesn't deserve this. Neither does Power Girl. So what is the context of the story here? Where are we going? So the Superman family, I agree with you guys 100%. There has to be a cap at some point. And what are you gonna do? Have another traumatic event by killing one of them? So it's gotten to a point where they're gonna write themselves into a corner. Maybe they have already for Supergirl, but like Aquaman before that we just talked about a few minutes ago, the potential is there for her. It's always been there. She was Kal-El's cousin sent to Earth to protect her cousin. That part at least was mentioned in here. But how is she going to do that if she's not right with herself? That's the message I'm getting here. So what kind of protector is that? Or then they're going to say Clark doesn't need it. So it's conflicting messages. it's confusing, and to Freyja's point, it's a psychotherapy session that basically, I mean, you can get that the second you walk out the door. You don't need to open a comic book for that.
Mm. Right. Okay. So I agree with all of you to an extent. I'll do the easy one first. The art is not fantastic at all in any shape or form. I don't understand how. And I'm not saying that everyone has to be sexualized or anything like that, but Supergirl, where's the bit where she's walking away from the cake? There, this panel here. What the hell's that? I don't understand why you can't draw like bombs. If you're going to have a character walking away from you, at least draw them correctly, right? And then towards the end of the book, you get Power Girl, and she's practically as flat chested as Supergirl. Now, I'm not all about the boobs. I'm not all about that. But people keep telling me that comics have to relate to real life, and I know girls with boobs. I know girls without boobs. It's just the way it is. So why can't that be represented without being off on one? I enjoyed the whole why do we need two Supergirls? And I think to kind of put this into some sort of, I suppose, my point of view is we've had this these two characters had this conversation back when it was Power Girl who doubted herself when she arrived on Earth, and Supergirl was already there. The other thing is, I disagree a little bit with 13th on. It's not the editor's fault for this. It's the CW, because this reads like an episode of the Supergirl TV show. And so if you like Supergirl TV show, you'll probably get this, you know. But otherwise, it is, as you say, just I like the story. I thought it was canny. I enjoyed it. I'm with Matthew on that one. But yeah.
Where's my cupcake?
Yeah, where's my cupcake? Where's my cupcake?
You can't have your cake and eat it too. So
I guess neither could Supergirl. So
Also, what type of monster eats a cupcake like that?
I do. That is the appropriate way to eat a cupcake. You make it into a miniature sandwich. Thank you. We will not be discussing this. I will die on this hill.
You're a monster, Knight.
I'm a monster then. I will be your worst nightmare.
Oh my god. Right, before we get into our third book and we have Cake Wars, the fondant strikes back. Time for one of our time for another advert for one of our other shows. Tell you what, we'll check this one out. We haven't seen this for a while. 13th, he said the C word. Time for it.
Sweet.
Crisis of the Toyverse, keep an eye on that because I'm sure Bobo will get his mitts on those Batman and Robin figures we were discussing at the top of the show.
Yeah. So, quick question, Knight, about the cupcake. What do you do if the cupcake has a filling in the center?
Mm-hmm.
Do you still rip it apart and just let it all ooze out all over the place?
I stuck it out. I just
do you guys have fairy cakes? Do you know what fairy cakes are?
I have no idea what a fairy cake is.
Okay, so
please tell me it's not the same as like unicorn toast.
No,
or like zebra cakes.
It's actually a cake. So imagine
it's actually a burrito.
So imagine that's your cake, right? Can you see that? Right. And what you do is you cut this end off, cut the top off, so then the cake is flat in its case. You then chop the top in halves, fill the middle up with fondant, and then you stick them in like butterfly wings.
Oh, I see them.
Yeah,
I've never seen them, but
that's cute.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
Yeah, that looks delicious. I
Sometimes
might try that.
Freyja, just to let you know, sometimes I'll if I like have a miniature cupcake, I won't even bother taking the wrapping off. Sometimes I'll just pop it all in my mouth and just.
Did the wrapping? Oh my god!
Oh.
He's a monster.
It's just paper. It's just paper.
Oh,
After I eat all the cupcake, I'll pull the wrapper out and throw it away.
Okay.
No
Okay.
comment.
Look, I was at a party like.
I don't want to
Do you eat
I
the
was at a
wrapper
party
on a tamale too?
I was at a party a few months ago.
I was doing
and-
cakes, man. I was doing cakes.
No, somebody brought miniature cupcakes, and I was a few cups in, and didn't
Put it in the vein, man. Put it in the vein.
didn't feel like trying to hand-eye coordinate the wrapper, and just
Oh, girl. Oh, girl.
Right.
All right. I'm sorry I asked.
If you think that's bad, this is Matthew's pick. It is. The
oh
end
my
of-
god! Speaking of things,
Why?
It is the end. Batman, Catwoman, The Gotham War, Scorched Earth, written by Teeny Howard and Chip Zdarsky, who I feel has mailed this in the entire run. Mike Hawthorne, who I wish had mailed it in and got somebody else, and Nicola. I can go and get this wrong, so it's Sismizla. That's what I'm going with. Inks, Mark Morales, Wade Von Grobadger, and Nicola Samizia. Colors by Arif Prianto and Clayton Cowles is on letters. It's over, finally, Matthew. Why on earth did you pick this book?
I picked this book because of something that we had discussed in the last episode, which was them hinting at possibly doing something with Jason Todd. So I picked this to see if it was true, to see if it was false, just to get clarity on that end. But before I go into all that, I'm going to start out with the good things about the book. I like the colors.
I like the colors.
I like the colors. The artwork was acceptable. It was okay. There were several times where somebody would, in the background, would like lose their face, but like that's not why we're here. We're not here to look at background characters. The people up front are what matter. Definitely make sure that they're ugly. Some of like the page where Jason looks at Bruce and says, "What are you waiting for? Go save another one of your sons." First off, rude, Jason. That's
that one, is it?
That's a whole can of worms we don't want to open up. Secondly, why are you so ugly there? Why is his face like that? I don't know. The decision on how they drew Jason in this book it doesn't sit well with me. He looks like the kid who attended JROTC in school, and then when he grew up, got dishonorable discharge from the military, and now drinks himself. I don't know. Okay. Maybe I'm saying too much about personal history and personal experiences.
Looks like the sort of guy that eats his cupcakes in a wonky fashion.
You're right. He does. He does. But those are the two acceptable things, colors and decent artwork. Now on to the bad. The story sucks. Okay, there we go. The story is Vandal Savage is working with what's her name? Scarnag, something. I don't fucking remember. Scandal. Yeah. Sorry, I said a naughty word there. I'm very livid, so if I say a naughty word, please forgive me. But they're working together to collect pieces of meteorite in order to draw in a larger meteor to then crash into Gotham, and then use that meteor's powers to enhance Vandal Savage's immortality even further. You're already immortal. What do you mean? How are you going to get even more immortal? And then he does this whole thing where, oh yeah, I'll definitely share the power. I'll share the media. All of you who work for me, you can become immortal as well. Yeah, sure. Okay. And it's proven where when Scandal tries to work with him. He stabs her. Oh no, didn't see that coming. But the biggest thing that makes me so angry is that in order to stop the meteor from crashing into Gotham and destroying it, they need something to blow it up. And so Jason, in a remarkable choice of self-sacrifice, decides to fly the bat plane into the meteor, which on its own, I think would have been a good story beat. You know, him fighting through the fear toxin that Bruce has given him to help subdue him, fighting through that panic and that fear to then try to save the people of Gotham. I liked that. But the fact that it had no effect to the story really made me angry. Yes, you saved the people of Gotham, but Vandal Savage still got access to the meteor. The meteor turned out to not be what Vandal was searching for, that it had some kind of adverse effect and killed him anyways. So the storyline still progressed. And then Bruce was like, oh no, Jason, but Catwoman who fell down. Oh no, I'm going to obsess about losing Catwoman because I loved her. But jokes on all of you because she's not actually dead. And I knew this the whole time. And so I'm not actually going to be sad about Jason's death. I'm just going to feign my melancholy over Catwoman who's still alive, and we're keeping her alive in secret.
Well, you know, Jason's not dead as well, right?
Is he not? Because what I read, it didn't seem like he survived.
Who's that at the bottom of the page?
Oh, well, there you go. I was proven wrong immediately. Look, that may have been why why I was so upset about this, because when I was skimming through and I saw this, I was skimming through. I didn't actually like read through it because I was already like not enjoying the book. So I was just skimming through, and I missed that panel of Jason because I didn't see it, you know.
No, because you got your anger blinders on.
Yeah, I've got my anger blinders on. I'm so upset about Jason making this decision and then having little to no effect, and then me just skimming through this. But like, it just shows Jason like hand on shoulder, and then he doesn't. Even now, he doesn't have any reaction. He's like, "Oh, Jason, you lived. Cool."
See, I kind of agree with you on this one. If they took some of the observatory battle out of this book and put a couple of pages of Jason actually struggling with the idea of trying to self-sacrifice, that would have made this book like 10 times better. I agree with you on this one, because for considering he's all like scared of his own shadow, it takes him two panels to get over that, and you think to yourself, what? You know, we get more panels of bloody Steph than we do of that, and it's like she's hardly in the book at all. Wasted opportunity for me.
There was a lot of wasted writing potential in this. Like I said, even looking at the panel that you just pointed out with Jason going, "Oh, hey, sorry for your loss, Bruce," and then Bruce not even acknowledging that Jason's still alive.
Yeah, crazy. 13th. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Sure? Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, man. 13th.
Yeah, my thoughts on the book. The art, I'm definitely not wild about. And remember, the beginning of the Gotham War felt more of a family feud. I thought that was a good start. I didn't like the story too much. I was neutral, and the gauge could have gone either way. Now we know which way it went, right? To have an ending like this, an anticlimactic ending, I guess, this had a lot of stuff happen with no effect, if that makes sense. There's nothing that's going to be permanent here.
Agreed.
And I think that's what leaves the bad taste in the mouth, other than the cupcakes we were talking about earlier.
If you've read 139, you know what already, that half the goons have gone back to the original henchmen. So, so what was the point of teaching them how to be cat burglars?
And you know this as well as I do, Machine. I absolutely hate Vandal Savage with a passion. I never, ever liked the character. Never.
Don't read Batman 139 then. The backup stories.
The fact that this war really was supposed to be like a schism with the family, turning into a Vandal Savage story about a meteor coming to Gotham made absolute zero sense.
Agreed.
To Matt's point, I agree 1,000,000%. To try to attract a meteor or a bigger meteor made no sense either.
And then they said something about it being a parasite of some kind. It was like, oh, it's like the toxoplasmosis osmia that affects cats. No one fucking cares.
Comic book science.
The other thing
Two-
that bothered me too
Makes
is
no
that you
sense.
have all of these Batman rogues come out, and basically these guys, how are they going to function together as a team? They don't.
That's a show. That's a
They
show.
function better on their own. Again, one thing that I know is true, right? When it for real life crime fighting, you have to detach yourself from stuff. In these books, they put way too much emotion in them when they're out in the field. You can't. It makes zero sense. It's one thing when the day is done and Batman goes home or wherever he's living and starts thinking about things, but it's another thing when you're out in the field and these guys are fighting. These villains. Some of these are villains. They're good enough to cause trouble on their own. Never mind, but teamed up, it just kind of cheapens that effect. Nightwing, I felt, was lost in here. This is a guy that basically he was the first one trained by Batman, and he's lost in here. Catwoman has been around forever in a lifetime, and I felt that this story cheapened Catwoman because she got kicked out of the spotlight, and in comes Vandal Savage. I thought this was a Catwoman thing with Batman, and it wasn't. Now it turned into something else, and then you're gonna fake that she died. It's almost as if you're gonna watch that bad movie where like, oh, someone's gotta die, and then first it was gonna be Jason. Oh no, he survived. Oh, it's gonna be Catwoman. Oh no, she survives. Oh no, wait a minute, this is a bad disaster. Now this is gonna be a Lazarus pit. Like how I don't know. This is everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And then the ending is even the worse, where a guy inadvertently discovers that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Dude, where have you been? Everybody knows Bruce Wayne is Batman now.
Freyja, it's like watching bad Grey's Anatomy, isn't it? Where someone attacks the hospital and nobody gets killed. Every patient gets saved. It's crazy. What do you think's on the thumb drive?
Oh God! Hopefully it's their. Never mind.
You think it's the Paris Hiltons?
Yeah, it was like maybe it's one of their like one night in Paris moments.
Baby, it's cold outside.
One night in Gotham, baby.
It's the video of Bruce singing from the cartoon.
Oh, I love that scene. Oh,
I am blue.
I'm blue. I love it. That was like peak superhero for me. Was those shows. Anyway,
you brought up the cartoon. I'll quickly say it's been a year since Kevin Conroy died.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still. Yeah.
All right, okay.
Anyway, sorry. But I don't at this point I don't give a shit what's on the unless it's a sex tape. I don't care. Honestly.
It's a cupcake recipe, Freyja, is what it is.
It's a cupcake recipe. Yeah. No, I hated this. I've hated this whole story from the get-go. And go figure, all of her little cronies. I just find it ironic that she's like, oh, they're still being henchmen. Like, bitch, they were henchmen to you too. You're the one controlling the thieves. Yeah, because there's like, they were being independent. I'm like, no, they weren't. You were calling the shots and telling them what they can and can't do and what they can and can't steal. They were always henchmen. They were just henchmen for you. And now they've decided, hey, guess what? Stealing's not enough for me.
Yeah.
Go freaking figure.
Cool.
And it's just because for some people, like what was it? There was a serial killer in California. He started out with just doing thievery, and then he got bored. He's like, I'm gonna up the ante, and then he started, raping people or women, and then he started murdering people. Like some people just are assholes, and they just get a thrill out of doing illegal things, and then they up the ante because it's not thrilling anymore. So anyway. And I agreed. I thought this was like a Batman versus Catwoman story, but wait, we subverted your expectations again. Yay!
Here's a catastrophe, without a doubt.
So boring.
Could we just say the Batman Catwoman, the 12-issue series by Tom King, was supposed to be about Batman and Catwoman, ended up being more about Joker and Catwoman than anything.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's just.
The last thing I'm going to say here is that. In all of the time I've been part of the Definitive Crusade, whenever we've had a book, whether it be good or bad, I've always been of the opinion, if this is something that you're interested in, if you want to pick this up, you can go for it. look at me. Johnny, put me up on the big screen.
Oh,
Do not buy this book.
That's as big as I can get you. Sorry, mate.
Listen to me very carefully. All of you watchers, do not buy this book. That's
Oh.
Hold on, there you go.
It is so disappointing. And it is not worth the money to invest in this story. It's not.
The night just went
Don't buy
scorched
it.
earth.
Yeah. And I agree. They did Jason Todd dirty in this. Like, like they kind of did this like, oh, hero moment, but then it did jack shit for anything story wise, and then he like magically appears. Like, Jason, you can't pull a Batman. You know, what was it, Batman Returns or whatever with Christian Bale? How do you survive?
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises. You can't pull a Dark
If
Knight
I could,
Rises and like appear.
Yeah,
Go
I
on.
just want to say one thing with again, like the book before with so many supers, and now you have so many bats and robins and all this stuff. It's not easy to write so many different characters and personality, and have them have a cohesive story within one book. And I think again that cheapens every character. Some of these characters are legacy characters: Batman, Catwoman, even Vandal Savage has been around for a long time. You don't learn anything about Vandal Savage in here other than he's hunting for rocks. That's pretty much it. And I that's what really bothered me the most.
Just to kind of wrap this one up so we can move on to the next one. I thought the book served one purpose and one purpose alone, and that's to create a Lazarus pit in Gotham. How else is Jason going to get cured? Batman still has a metal hand. He's going through some psycho stuff. So, what's the chances of one of them using the pit to get sorted?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
It's also a nice way to bring Ra's al Ghul back into play down the line.
Yeah, I want Tally. I'm sick of Catwoman. Can we just like move on to a different love interest at this point? Also,
Agreed.
And Katie Kane is nowhere in sight once again.
Did you see the adverts in the book though? Katie Kane and Luke Fox are getting a new Outsiders book next.
Oh, cool. No, I got distracted by that god awful Static Shock. I'm like, what they do to my man Virgil? Like, what they do to you?
What did they do?
What did they do?
Last book, and when we think of superheroes, can you believe a man can fly?
Maybe. Depends.
Put a cupcake on the table and you see.
Back in time, it's Superman 78, the metal curtain. One of 6, so this is a mini series, thank God. It's written by Robert Venditti, which I know is one of 13's favorite writers. Gavin Goudry is on art. Geordie Belair is on colors, and I love Geordie. David Lanphier is on letters, and he's from A Larger World. 13. This was your pick. I can't remember if you were on the show the last time we talked about the legacy books, because at the same time Batman 89 had come out, the first run of the Superman book had come out. So take it away, sir. The mic is yours.
I will take it up, and away, machine.
Just before you go, there's the advert for the Batwoman thing. There it is. Yeah. All right, carry on. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, on Robert Venditti, I am a fan of Robert Venditti. I thought he did an awesome job on Hawkman. Not only did I not like him there, I liked him also when he was with Valiant, writing Eternal Warrior and whatnot. So I've been watching or reading Robert Venditti for quite some time. So to see him tackle this, great. The artwork, not so great. I did not like the art by Gavin Guidry here. I felt it was, for lack of better words, I felt it was very pedestrian, in my honest opinion. And I get the idea of trying to keep the Superman 78 story alive. You know, Christopher Reeve, without a doubt, is one of the most iconic Superman actors ever. And a lot of people try to emulate that, and I get it. And it's kind of hard to believe it's been 45 years with Superman 78. So I get, man. Trying to keep the idea alive and the story, I get it. But this is, I guess this is targeted more for people that really didn't grow up in that era, and I get that. But, you know, me reading this, it feels, I don't know, very like maybe 13% of a continuation of that Superman. And I guess that's what this is intended for. Like that world, that Lois Lane, that Superman, what would have happened? Kind of like the Batman 66 when they were doing stories with that, trying to keep Adam West and Burt Ward in newer adventures that for fans of those franchises, you know, to kind of keep the story going and not let the interest die. I agree with all of that stuff. What I don't agree with though is the art in here. I'm not even too wild about the plot. It almost felt like Superman Red Sun in the beginning,
Yeah,
with right away bringing out the Russians in here. So in Superman, the Quest for Peace, Part 4, you know, you have the Nuclear Man was a villain. So what was going on back then, you know, the Cold War and things like that. So I kind of remembered that, and I'm like, is that where they're going with this? But no, at the end, this looks like a new origin story for Metallo. Okay, so the Christopher Reeve Superman, quote unquote, is gonna get challenged by this, backed by the Russian government. So, I mean, the story I'm okay with. I'm curious enough to see what issue 2 is going to bring, but the art, I don't know. Much like much of the art that we've seen today, it hasn't really been strong.
Yeah.
I think the Gotham War, believe it or not, artwork was better than most of the books
my
we covered
God.
today.
Oh, God.
And that's saying something.
Yeah, it is. Before we go to Freyja, who is our resident art critic, I want to ask the question. It's amazing how Lois's skirt changes from being
yes.
that short, ultra modern, now
Mhm.
back to a 70s version on that one. And
Yeah.
before anyone starts giving me the physics of when a woman sits up, the skirt sits down, the skirt rides up, and all that bullshit, as you can see, she's still in the same position as she was on the previous panel. So,
yeah. So, yeah, and it even changes. It does.
Again.
The length is different on the very next page. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
It's a super skirt.
super skirt. Yeah, it's almost as bad as Melina. What's her name? Melina Jovovich. What in the Resident Evil movies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I made a full-on drinking game out of every time her skirt changes length. Because it keeps getting shorter and shorter through the entire movie.
By the end, you're eating cupcakes with the wrapper.
Hey!
Exactly.
Watch out for the paper.
Pass the teeth through the gums. Look how stomach.
Oh, gross. Anyway, like it's just artwork was bad. I mean, I love this 70s Superman. Reeves is my Superman. And it's just I also agree. I thought we were gonna go to like Red Sun Superman all of a sudden because everything turned red. I'm like, oh, is this gonna be like, you know, Red Sun Superman? That'd be interesting. But no, we're just, you know. But I didn't like the story. I didn't like the artwork. They did it better in the last one that they did, the other 70s one. I recommend that one, not this one. This one, no.
I tell you how bad this story is right up in. I didn't know they were talking Metallo till he actually said Metallo. I looked at that suit and I thought, oh, excellent, we're getting Lex Luthor's power suit.
Yeah,
or a Rocket Red because we're in Russia. At no point did I think Metallo until they actually had the point. The book is so bad, it has to spell out who the villain is. And you think to yourself, I've been around comics for a number of years now. It shouldn't take this long to get to that point. Matthew, what did you think?
It was better than the last book.
You picked the last book.
I mean, that's not saying much, Matthew. Not saying much.
Hey, a planet blew up again.
Again.
Yep. Back to the whole kablooey thing.
I'm going to blow up Krypton.
Oh.
Look, I'll be honest. I'm after discussing that last one, I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of Johnny, it's just as you said, up until he says Metallo, you don't know. I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's one of the power suits from I almost said Far Cry, not Far Cry, Fallout. That's one of the power suits from Fallout series.
Power armor, yeah.
Power armor, yeah. I was like, oh, that's a cool little take on it. But was not expecting Metallo. Now I do actually really like stories that take place in the Cold War era.
I agree.
Anything that takes place in the Cold War or World War II, honestly, those two situations I think are some of the peak writing for me, because they're really cool. You know, I grew up watching old wartime movies with my dad, and so that there's kind of a bit of a sentimentality there with it, and I really enjoy it. So the fact that we're discussing something or reading something that takes place during the Cold War, I thought it could have been cool. Could have been cool. Was it?
You know what bothered me with the art? Like when Superman flies fast, it's just a red streak. There's no attempt at a body in there, or the motion like how Flash is drawn. Nothing. It's just, oh, this is easy. I'll let the colorist take care of this part.
I think to be fair, I mean, I'm not going to stick up for the book too much because it's that dog crap. I will say this: I think that's supposed to be a riff of Superman flying from the movies. I think that's the kind of like the thing that you're looking for. But
also,
I agree. I agree. There is a lack of detail to everything.
If Superman's flying at like Mach 3 and then he hits somebody to catch them or rescue them, wouldn't they just be splattered or sashimi'd with his own?
Comic
book, be like a splattered cupcake.
Easy Big Bang Theory. Let's not get even talk about how.
I'm glad you guys understood what I was trying to go for.
We mentioned at the top of the show, and I thought I'd just show these. This is from the McFarlane website. These are the figures that we're talking about. You've got Mr. Freeze, which is a builder figure. You've got Batgirl, Ivy. The Robin one looks the absolute bomb. There is a Batman where there's Batman. There he is.
That looks good.
With his George Clooney jaw going on there. I think these figures are absolutely bees knees. And if you like figures, if this is your thing, I don't think you can go wrong really with McFarlane. There you go.
I like them. Those are nice.
Yeah, come at me. I like them as well. Right, there you go. Red Hood is saved for another book coming around. Yay. You got to love a new book, right, Matthew?
Oh, I'm excited for this apparent new series coming up. That sounds cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just so disappointed.
You're just tired.
I'm tired. I'm mentally checked out.
Let's take a cosmic treadmill together to go to the exact point where Krypton was about to blow up. That's how I feel. Right
now. Let's take a cosmic treadmill to go back to the point where I decided to try to read this book and just slap myself.
Yeah. Next time around, I might pick all the books. I'm just joking. I'm joking. I wouldn't do that to you all. Right, you've had 4 books, 4 different points of view as always. Thank you so much for hanging out, Freyja. It's been an absolute blast. Matthew, appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
13. It took you 13 times to get here, but I'm glad you stuck around.
Yeah, the 13th time is the charm.
Yeah.
So they say. Don't forget to check out the UCPN for all your favorite shows, including Freyja.
K-Pop Cosmos, where we talk about and highlight K-pop idols.
13.
The Old Timers Comic Book Show, where the hosts aren't old, but the comics most certainly are, except for one of the hosts.
He's talking about himself.
Yeah, he's talking about himself, Johnny. It's not you. It's not you.
I don't think he is. Yeah, don't forget the Old Timers Comic Book Show, which needs a new host coming up soon. And Matthew, where can we see your dulcet tones?
You can find me over at the Late Night Channel on TikTok and Twitch, and I'm trying to get my YouTube still up and running. It's kind of a work in progress, but I make D&D content and Magic the Gathering content, so definitely go check that out.
There you go. Excellent. Okay, I've been your host, Johnny Machine Hughes, and as always, adios.
Bye, guys.
Bye.